for liftoff in T-minus 30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at will.
Well, hello, Christine.
Good evening.
This is our inaugural presentation of navigating the Northwoods, and it's actually a little earlier than we were expecting. We were figuring it was going to be post-election,
Yes.
but then I had this crazy idea that we should go through the gubernatorial debate, and as a joke, I just wanted to put up the one where it was just Scott Jensen. And honestly, still critique just how bad of an option for governor he really is when you even by himself. Oh no, I said that out loud. I still think even though it's you think the original debate between Walz and Jensen is old news now, especially after what we got going on tonight. I still think we need to go through and do a breakdown of that. So
at some point. Just for funsies.
Yeah, just for funsies. Yeah.
That's a generational.
The things that you can get me to say on my own show. So how you like? I don't know if anybody saw the new logo for the show. I should see if I can find it.
Yeah.
See if I can do that. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what we're doing tonight and who we're having on and why?
Yeah, well, so some of you are probably aware, if you watched TC's streams before, of some of the malfeasance that has taken place within the Ottertail County BPOU over this past year, specifically with caucus delegate issues, lack of transparency, and the like. I believe that Merle was on previously talking about some of that. Well, it's really heated up as far as the how deep the corruption goes and how many people are willing to play along with this and how the establishment GOP has protected the malfeasance that's taken place. And so Merle is coming back on along with his wife, Carol, specifically because they had a conversation with GOP leadership member about the malfeasance. And the call is available on YouTube. And, we can put out a link for it so that you can listen to it in its entirety. It's about 18 minutes long. But almost every minute of it just will flabbergast you. So we had to have him on to talk about it.
There's our logo.
There it is.
It's probably going to get our channel but we have a new channel or not a new channel, but we have a
Facebook page.
A Facebook page, which is, what did we end up calling that? I forgot already.
Navigating the Northwoods.
And it's on Facebook, so I should probably find that. You sent me the link earlier, but I can't. Okay, so in the entrance of full disclosure, if you don't know, TC got nuked. Big
Zucked.
time.
Zuck.
Zuck nuked me from orbit on Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday he nuked me from orbit. No explanation why. I filed my appeal and it was back in 10 seconds. Your content has violated our community standards, which I think was preemptive on their part because they knew that no one's going to be getting banned from Twitter now that Elon's taken over. And he actually started banning his own employees, which I find incredibly hilarious. And no, I don't feel sorry for these social justice, politically correct shills for the regime, which is going to tie in a little bit with what we're going to be talking about here tonight. So, so I got nuked. So, Christine, why don't you send me the link to that so I can put it in the banner
Yeah,
down below,
absolutely.
and then we will get rolling. Nate Miller may or may not be able to join us. He is working tonight, but Nate plays an integral part in this conversation, and I'm looking forward to having him on if we can.
Yeah, there's plenty of things we could talk about outside of this phone call involving Nathan too, because the GOP is just coming after him. Anyway,
yeah.
and it's getting a little sad at this point.
Well, I mean, when we go through and listen to the audio, it'll be really clear. But what I want to do right now, I want to bring Carol and Merle in. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
We got Miss Undercover Journalist of the Year with us. Carol, you put yourself in harm's way, and you went and had a meeting with somebody in what congressional district does this fall into?
Seventh
Congressional district. So, where our friend Bull Johnson is running for House of Representatives at the federal state level. And no, Bull did not pay me to say that. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in the 7th Congressional District and you want to vote for someone who actually cares about liberty, do not vote for Fishbach. Do not vote for the DFLer. You got to go vote for Bull. And if Bull disappoints us, Bull knows I will hunt him down and kick him in the shin. And it won't be hard because Bull's not that big. So you went and had a meeting with a neighboring county to Ottertail County, is my understanding. You had a conversation with somebody from another county who happens to be in the 7th District leadership.
Yeah, it wasn't a meeting. It was like a phone call.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, meeting, phone call,
Yeah, there was a phone call, yeah.
And in your goal was to have this conversation with somebody who is in the 7th District leadership.
No, well, prior to that, there was like a letter that was published about, it says, do not let liberals seize control. And they were saying why we shouldn't support, between other things, why we shouldn't support like a right-hand candidates. And there were like five chairs that signed that document. And the only one that I knew and I've seen that attended some of our events was Bill Nichols. So I called him because he was the only one that I really knew out of the 5 chairs, and I asked him why they signed that document, and the conversation went forward as it is recorded. Yeah.
When did you decide you were going to record that?
Well, it wasn't like I was planning to record it, but I said, since I'm going to call him, there might be something important to listen and to hear afterwards. But it wasn't like my intention, hey, I'm going to call him and record it right away. It wasn't like my intention to do that, but I just thought maybe there will be something important that he might say. And we were always trying to expose the corruption. Maybe he might talk about that. So and then the conversation transpired, and I mean, many things came out that I didn't even imagine that would have came out.
Yeah, she was about a minute or so into the conversation before she started taping it. So it wasn't a pre-planned thing. It just maybe Holy Ghost led.
Yeah, and you can tell that whenever the call first starts out, he's kind of at the tail end of a sentence. I think it would be helpful for maybe folks who haven't tuned in before or seen the previous episode to just give a brief synopsis of the prompting of your guys' phone call in the first place. Just a real brief synopsis of what took place in Ottertail County that started all of this.
Okay. Well, like she was talking about that letter, there's 5 counties in our Senate district, And all 5 of these county chairs from the BPOUs signed a letter saying that we need to get behind the endorsed candidates. And one of those endorsed candidates was Jordan Rasmussen. And they, in the letter, it said anybody who disputes this is false and that they are trying to aid the Democrats. So we were told that they were trying to be nice to us. To me, they were calling. I dispute the fact that he got the endorsement because, as you know, they added several delegates after caucus night. And so I do dispute the fact that he's the legitimate endorsed candidate. So in essence, they're saying by signing that letter that anybody who believes otherwise is lying, and they're trying to help the Democrats. We are not trying to help the Democrats. So it was that letter. I'm sorry. So it was that letter that prompted that, because he signed that letter. So we wanted to know. He's always claimed to be a supporter of Nathan Miller, but and that he was working so hard on trying to get this audit, but we've never seen him publicly say a word to it, to call out the Ottertail County leadership.
And when was that letter published, and how was it published and made publicly available?
We saw it on Facebook.
Okay.
It was on, I think the Republican Party of Ottertail County posted it on their website, on their Facebook page.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe on their website too. They actually took down their website for a while, and now they've got a new one supposedly.
Okay.
Well, so I know that, there's a bit of a kerfuffle, going on as well with Nate, because they've filed a complaint now because of the idea that somehow he's not a Republican, he's running as an independent, and nothing can be further from the truth. The only difference is he hasn't received the endorsement, but he's still a Republican. I don't know how much longer any of you are actually going to continue to be Republicans after this. Quite frankly, I am not affiliated with any political party right now, but I'll tell you what, Minnesota GOP has done their level best to make sure I never affiliate with them again without a lot of massive changes. But Nate still holds to very strong constitutionally minded Republicanism, and to file a complaint stating that he's not a Republican and therefore he's somehow, I don't know, what is the accusation? He's breaking campaign finance or campaign laws, or
Fair campaign practices says that you can't knowingly, directly or indirectly, insinuate that you have the support of a major party. And they filed a complaint against him on October 14th with the Office of Administrative Hearings. And they said that he's been calling himself a Republican and misleading the voters to believe that he is the Republican candidate. And they based that accusation on a few posts and the bio of his Facebook page for his Senate campaign saying Republican, just the word Republican, which the Office of Administrative Hearings has decided in other cases that simply using the word Republican doesn't insinuate any kind of support from the official party. And then when it finally got time to go to his hearing, then they insinuated that, well, it's just this one flyer that was passed out for this event where it says Nathan Miller, SD9, Republican Party. Now it's a problem because it says Republican Party. So that's an ongoing thing, but.
So somebody's being pedantic.
Yeah.
Because he's never claimed to be endorsed.
No.
And we are the guilty party because we made the
way to go, Merle. It's always you, Merle. Always.
I know.
Yeah, it's our group, Caravan of Patriot, that hosted the event, and we were the ones that made the flyers, and we handed the flyers out. So,
yeah. But somehow they own the name Republican and party. And another thing, Nathan Miller's been a Republican all his life. He's still a Republican. He is a delegate, a voted delegate. He was voted on delegate, elected by his precinct to be a delegate for the Republican Party. So he is a member of the Republican Party. Nowhere in our letter or I've never heard him say that he's the endorsed candidate of the Republican Party. This is
He's
all
made a big deal out of not being the endorsed
right.
candidate. So,
Right.
so I mean, that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
they
well,
would.
it'd be antithetical to the write-in campaign that Nathan Miller is running right now to insinuate that he's the endorsed candidate. Because if he tells voters that, they're going to go looking for the word Republican on the ballot.
Right.
He's not going to win. So
Mhm.
it's just on its face. The accusation is ludicrous.
Yeah.
Uh,
They are like the Pharisees, though. The Pharisees use the law to their advantage to advance corruption. They're not trying to advance, what is right, what is good. They're they're nitpicking at something that isn't even there. Like you said, saying the Republican Party actually hurts him. We need to put write-in candidate on there so people are aware how they're gonna be able to vote for him, because like you said, they're not going to find him on the ballot as a Republican. So yeah, it's not beneficial to him.
No. So you guys decided to call Bill and describe a little bit of the nature of that conversation when it started out.
Well, I had asked him why he decided to sign the letter, and I can't even remember how I listened to watch the video. I mean, like a few times, yeah. And go ahead.
Yeah, it was basically that letter, because he claimed to be on our side and that he was fighting for an audit, yet publicly he's never demanded an audit. And I think all of the other 4 chairs outside of Ottertail County should have demanded that Ottertail County be transparent in this, because what happened in Ottertail County affected the other 4 Senate districts. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but in the primary, Nathan Miller won all 4 of the other counties. He only lost in Ottertail County, and that was in the major metropolitan city that swung him over.
Well,
if there is a metropolitan city in
I was just going to say, Merle,
the largest city.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yeah, as metropolitan as Fergus Falls gets.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Dent, Minnesota. It's 150 people, 170 maybe now. So Fergus is kind of metropolitan to me.
So
yeah, Dent wasn't just a cute name. It was literally what happened to the road when somebody stopped there.
Yeah, I was going to say what fired me up, like, to continue the conversation is like when he was trying to say that winning was more important than having
clean election.
Yes, because it was the only time in Minnesota that they would have the 3 branches, like the governor, the House, and the Senate. And it didn't matter. I mean, I was insisting and saying, why don't you want? I mean, transparency and honesty doesn't matter, but I mean, it seems like it didn't, because I mean, it just seemed like it was winning. So that winning was more important than having a person of principles in the government. Than, I mean, winning was more important than having a person of principles. So that gave me like more fire to continue the conversation, because I mean, it's wrong. I mean, we don't vote like for a corrupt person and then expect him to act righteous afterwards, or are we going to put you in government and then see what you're going to do, or expose everything when you're there? The moment you're in government, it will be hard to take you out or to expose you or do anything.
It's an awful lot like, Nancy Pelosi standing there in the middle of the debate for Obamacare and saying, what we have to do is we have to vote for the legislation so that we can see what's in the legislation.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's what I heard, and Christine and I are going to go through and review the audio from Ottertail County Veritas. I like what you did with that, by the way.
Well, people were telling us, oh, you're going to get sued for Project Veritas. I said Veritas, it's a word in Latin that seems like truth.
It means truth. It literally means that.
I never said I was Project Veritas or anything.
Well, don't say that. You might sue you.
I just said Veritas, and that's the meaning, truth.
Yeah, like it's people are so stupid. They feel like you're stealing a word that somebody else made up, and I'm like, intellectual property rights are so stupid in the first place, but this is we've reached a whole new low for the level of lack of intelligence in this country these days.
Yeah.
Um,
So far,
I'm salty this week. I got crapped on by so many people this like this. I'm
It's
just
been
so
rough.
it's been a rough week. I was like, Christine had to do all the lining up for all of this. I'm like, you got to get them, and she's coordinating that. She's coordinating other people that she's not even going to be on the show, and she's helping me, and I am doubling her pay this week.
wow.
So if anybody wants to see Christine's pay get doubled, they have to super chat, because that's the only way she's getting any money.
It's all going to go to we're going to build our own platform where we can't get nuked by Zuck.
Right.
Exactly. And get nuked by Goog instead. But when I listen to the very interesting conversation that you had with it's Bill, right? Yeah, with Bill. I was hearing some of this. Well, we got to win, and we have to see what he does. And the refrain that he kept bringing up to you, Carol, was, and I know Christine got a kick out of this too, was, well, but Jordan completely understands just how serious all of the actual conservative Christians really are up there now, and so he's gonna have to toe the line. No, he's not.
Exactly.
He's not. He's going to rely on the R by his name in a predominantly, how do I want to say it? In a predominantly Republican stronghold, which is that 7th congressional district, and that's all he's just going to ride coattails, and he's going to do what every single other one of the centrist does, and that's vote to maintain a relationship with the left. And even their language of, we can't let the liberals win. I'm like, we're not dealing with liberals. We're dealing with the left. And people have to recognize that. We have to stop saying liberal. But the Republican Party beats up on that name because it scares people.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really terrified of running against the left, because people don't understand the left, so they have to beat up. The Rush Limbaugh voters out there, they hear the word liberal and they think libtard from Limbaugh, and that's what you're dealing with, and that's what Rasmussen's running on. He has no substance. He is literally a man full of gas. That's it. No substance at all.
Yeah.
And
yeah, if you look at his donations, where all his money comes from, it's from large corporations, organizations. It's from lobbyist groups. Pfizer's one of his donors. So, I mean, that's who he's beholden to. He's not going down to St. Paul to undo what's been done. He's continuing on with more spending, more regulations. I mean, he's got a 2-year record, and his 2-year record is not pretty. And I'm glad the last time I was on, it was you, TC, that pointed out to me about his abortion stance. That for the safety of the mother, and the baby.
Yep.
So he licensed abortion clinics. As we know, a license gives you authority to do what you're doing.
You guys are going to create fireworks later in the show when you leave now, because Christine and I are going to have a bonfire about this. So,
well, here's the thing that I find funny about that particular part of it, Merle, is that I saw someone comment on Facebook, because that was brought up, was Jordan Rasmussen's position on abortion and the licensing of the abortion centers. And they said, well, that is the official pro-life position. I believe it was actually Melissa Norgren brought it up, that somebody else had said it. And for those of you who don't know, Melissa is a part of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe she's a part of the Ottertail County Republicans, and she has done a really good job of putting out regular content on Facebook talking about all of the corruption that's taking place.
Just to clarify, Melissa's not been endorsed by the Republican Party.
Yes, just to clarify, she is not an official public relations director of any kind. So they said, well, the official pro-life position is that you want to license abortion centers because then they can do regular inspections to make sure that they're not breaking any laws. Well, you know what else you can do to make sure that they're not breaking any laws is hold the doctors at the abortion center's medical licenses accountable whenever they do. Like, for instance, whenever 5 infants are born alive and they're not provided any care.
Right. Yeah. Don't doctors take an oath to do no harm?
Indeed, they do.
Yes. So they shouldn't be killing babies.
Guys, now you know why I wanted to do a show with Christy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we got my friend, everybody's friend Sue said, and who believes that having the governor's office and legislature will produce anything? And that's in reference to this idea of, well, we got to win. Like, and here's the problem. She's right. She's absolutely right. And this is the thing that I've been. And Christine's heard me say this before. We have got to stop pushing to like win the White House. I don't care who's in the White House. I mean, I do. Don't get me wrong. But what we really need to do is we need to lead from the local level.
Mm-hmm.
And the most local level we need to be leading at is school boards, city councils, and mayors. That's where we really need, and then county commissions, and then moving up. We need to take over those local places so that we can get these local places to have sound, constitutionally minded candidates and then get them elected so that they could start doing things like nullification at the local level. And once they get used to doing nullification at the local level, then we could start getting them into the state house and the state senate and then the governor. But we could put a Scott Jensen in. That's not going to change anything in this state. It's not going to change anything, which is one of the reasons why I want to go through the actual debate that did happen. And maybe in the very near future, we'll do that just for funds. What'd you say, for funsies?
Funsies.
For funsies, yeah. Words that would never come out of my mouth on my own show. I have to now say funsies. But we just aiming at thinking we're going to make a difference by taking the Senate and taking the governorship. That doesn't change anything because we've still got a bunch of weak-kneed, shall we say, panty-waisted, milquetoast people. Kurt Dowd is a coward. I mean, this is the leadership. Who do you think these people are going to align themselves with? We don't have a lot of strong candidates. We've got the Nate Millers. We've got the Walter Hudsons. We've got the Stephen Lowells. We've got Ashley. And there are some others, don't get me wrong. But nobody's going to stand up to party leadership. Jordan Rasmussen is not going to go up there and say, okay, well, I almost lost to Nate Miller and the conservatives in Ottertail County and the 7th District up there. They really want me to do the conservative thing. He's not Jordan Rasmussen. He's had the opportunity to prove that, and he hasn't. He's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
And that's what I mentioned in the recording is that like establishment or Rhino and Democrats, they're never a win for the people. Voting for conservatives, which are people of integrity, they will be a win for us, not Rhinos, not Democrats. So when they try to say like we are splitting the votes and we need to vote for a Republican, we need to vote for a conservative, not for a Republican, because the Republican Party has drifted way left. They have left, the leadership has left the platform, and they have drifted left. So that's why there is a big division in the Republican Party, because there are still the conservatives where they're supposed to be. They didn't leave their principles, and the establishment people that they have gone way left, and they compromise with our principles and our values.
Well, here's what, you guys don't have to agree with me, but that's okay. Everybody's entitled to be wrong once in a while. I think we need to stop referring to people as rhinos. And I'm going to say this very carefully. because somebody will clip it and try and use it against me. So the full context here is we have to stop referring to the Minnesota GOP leadership and county party leadership, the BPOU leadership, and district leaderships and whatnot. We have to stop referring to them as rhinos. You want to know who the real rhinos are right now? Ultimately, it's the outsiders. The Wiesenbergs and the Millers and Hudson and Lowell, not because they're actually rhinos the way most people think of it, but because they're not like the rest of the party. They're not at all like the rest of the party. The Minnesota GOP right now, when you look at the phrase rhino, the people who are leading the Minnesota GOP and most of the people who are kind of falling in line with them, that is the Republican Party. They're not rhinos. That's the Republican Party. And it's been the Republican Party for a long time.
But you're ceding the word Republican to them. You're giving them that word, Republican.
Well, sure, Merle, I don't necessarily disagree with that. But if you go back to the history of the party, I mean, the party's greatest president was Abraham Lincoln, and he was a tyrant.
Mm-hmm.
He was a tyrant. And I had Spike Cohen on, and my friend Monica Perez have both in different ways said that the Democrats promise you tyranny and deliver you tyranny. The Republicans promise you liberty and deliver you tyranny.
Yeah.
And that's been. Go ahead, Kristen.
The problem is that the Republicans as a party think that they have ownership over the concept of conservatism.
Yeah. Right.
Because what you keep hearing come out of Carol's mouth is we need to elect conservatives. And you're absolutely right. We need to elect conservatives.
Right. Right.
And that's and you guys know me. You know where I stand on that. I agree 100%. But I'm to the point now where we got a lot of people are paying attention. The stream's actually doing pretty good. It's funny when I bring Christine on and you guys on, then all of a sudden people want to watch. But when it's just me, nobody cares. They just came to see that.
Get nuked more often.
Yeah, I just need to get nuked more often and let you guys do all my promoting, which means you'll get nuked too. Just watch.
I hope not. I have a candidate to get elected in 2 weeks.
Shouldn't have said that. You're going to get nuked.
Yeah, just speak the truth and you'll get nuked.
Yeah. But we've got people talking. They're kind of debating. They're kind of debating, what's it look like in the live chat, and I'm enjoying seeing people talk about this. But we had Fisherman in a Box, who has his own podcast, by the way, and I enjoy it. I'd like to collab with him sometime. Fisherman in a Box says someone somewhere needs to define conservative, and I agree that we do need to define it, because we have reactionary conservatism, the Fox News conservatives, the people who hang on every word that Sean Hannity, vomits out of his CIA paid mouth. And a lot of the other, there are really 3 decent hosts left on Fox right now: Gutfeld, Carlson, and Kennedy. Other than that, they're all shills for the Republican war machine. And when you listen to what they espouse, it's a lot like we have to have licensed abortion clinics because that's how we keep them safe. That's how we keep, just what? That's the Republican position. Mm-hmm. We have to license abortion clinics to keep them safe. Safe for who?
The baby.
Who's safe? Who's safe in the abortion clinic? Somebody's dying.
Yeah.
That's not safe.
We have to have corrupt caucuses so we can win.
Right.
That's what I heard on that phone call. We know it's corrupt. The thing is, there's so many, and I don't even know if they're Freudian slips or if it's just that Bill Nichols bearing his soul in the call because he knows deep down the truth. But there's so many Freudian slips in there, for lack of a better term, where he's admitting, yes, there was corruption. Yes, there was fraud. Yes, we didn't do anything about it. Now he claims it's because, because he thought that Nathan was going to win the endorsement through the primary process. But I mean, for some people who have been in politics for long enough and have been party leadership for long enough, they know that our primaries are open.
Yeah.
Who does the Democrat want to run against? Nathan Miller in a conservative district like District 9? Nathan Miller or Jordan Rasmussen? That's not a tough choice. If I'm a Democrat trying to win an election,
The DFL candidate is going to want to run against the Jordan Rasmussen every time, and that's why we're seeing some of the gains that we're seeing. Merle, I know that you have got to get to bed very soon because at your age,
Yeah, true.
and when you're sitting next to the beauty that is your wife, you need every bit of beauty sleep you can get, Merle. No offense, I'm just throwing it out there. But I know you got to get going soon. But where do you guys see this going? Because with this October surprise, and I asked right before I got nuked, it's like, come on, Carol, you can't tell me. She sends me this cryptic October surprise, and I'm like, can you tell me something? Nope. And then I got nuked, and I'm like, way to go, you got me nuked, Carol. So, but with your little October surprise here going into this, what do you know that they're coming for you, right? You know they're coming for you. They're going to expel you from the party. Because that's what they do. Look at what the Minnesota GOP did to Amanda Hughes and that county, Kitson County. They disbanded the entire BPOU over a lie.
Well, I mean, we knew about, I mean, there was corruption. We know that because we have the evidence. Merle has seen the evidence. We just needed to know the depth of it. So when we will tell people that there was corruption, they will call us like liars and you guys don't know what you're talking. But now we have the proof of someone inside the party that telling us that there is corruption. So if we can get like voters to listen to the recording and see that it's not just an R before your name to vote for, you need to vote for someone with principles. And we have that candidate with principles. You know, that he will go there and he will stand up for what is right, not what the party tells him or what, you know, what it seems to be the right thing that the party wants, but what actually is the right thing that goes according to the Constitution and according to his principles. So that's what we would love to see, like it goes to the voters' ears, and if they have a little bit of conscience, that they will see, this thing seems like wrong. I mean, I shouldn't just vote for a person that just because he's been endorsed or he's from a certain party, but what does he stands for? And there's someone with principles, with integrity, that he's actually a statesman. He has no aspiration for being a politician. So that's people that we want to be in government, that they will go do their job and come back and take care of their families, that they won't be there like for decades and they won't come out of politics. Politics has become a job now. So
yeah, and the purpose of this audio tape is not to persuade those who are in the top of leadership. We know that's not possible. But Jordan Rasmussen has some followers who may not know the depth that he and his cohorts will go to in order to get power. They will do anything. Look, like we talked about earlier, how they're going after Nathan because we put on a flyer, Republican Party. They'll do anything to get power. So the people who vote, who follow him, who think he's a great guy, needs to know the truth about him and about the leadership within the Ottertail County Party. So that's what this is intended for those people. If they can vote for corruption after finding out the truth, then that's on them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think you both are amazing, and keep up the good work. Yes, no, it. Like
she
I
never
said,
says nice things like that about me.
I've listened to that call several times just because I'm floored by it. And TC and I are going to go through it, but I'm just floored by it. And the fact that you were able to illuminate and bring forth all of this clear-cut evidence, in my opinion.
And
I mean, I was going to say, like, people ask me as I said, I wasn't planning for have that long conversation with him. It was just was going to ask him why he signed the letter. He's the only one that I knew in that letter out of the 5 chairs. And I say,
well, we know Ben too, but
yeah,
he
Ben,
wouldn't.
yeah, he wouldn't like, yeah. So I think people might not, well, people might not believe this, but I think that was a God thing, because personally, I'm not a confrontational person. I don't like to speak in public. I don't like to do this, what I'm doing here. So that was something of, I mean, like, I think God that put those words in my mouth, and it just went as it went, because that's not my nature to confront someone or do what I did.
She had a righteous anger about what's happening. Righteous anger is good. I think our Lord and Savior got angry a few times when he saw injustices happening.
He,
I mean, and if we
he
don't,
may have made a whip and chased people out of a building somewhere
Yeah.
a couple of times. I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
He might have called some people or vipers and serpents, and
And I appreciate what you guys are saying. I like the idea of righteous indignation.
Mhm.
Quite frankly, if I were going to go that far into it, I really do feel like at this point in time, he'd chase everybody out of the House and the Senate. Everybody, all of them, they'd just be gone.
yeah.
I'm just done. I'm done with all of you. I'm just, you know what? I'm Jesus. I'm taking over. That's what it was like.
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys go and try and enjoy what you have left of your evening. Christine and I are going to listen through. She has timestamps, but I have a funny feeling the timestamps are going to end up meaning nothing, because one of us is going to blow a gasket as we listen to this, even though we both listened to it several times. Every time I listen to it, I'm just like,
You glean a little bit more out of it every time you listen to it.
oh no, I get angrier, which was probably a good thing that I got nuked by the time I actually got the link to the video, because I would have been ranting all over Facebook. There would have been like a multiple Facebook live videos. So
Hey guys, may I say something quickly?
no.
Just like, I just want to encourage people, like, when you see, like, I mean, the way that the world is going there, or country or county, and you see that things are wrong, that evil is taking over, even if it's not in your comfort zone, we need to take the first step and do something. It needs to start with us. And then when it starts with us and people see that you have courage, it's going to grow like a wildfire. So we need to start standing up and doing the right thing, confronting evil. If not, we will just give them like more force to continue. If God is on our side, if we are Christians and God is on our side, the Bible says, who will be against us? So we, as Christians, we need to take a stand against the evil in this world. And when we see it, we need to do it and do something about it. Just don't be quiet and pray, oh God, take this evil away. We need to do something. We need to pray and take action. Pray, faith, and take action.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. And
even if you're not a Christian, please do something.
Do something.
Like,
yes.
please do something. Like Christian. I've been telling people the last 2.5 years since I started the channel, I have stood in the gap with Mormons. I've stood in the gap with atheists. I've stood in the gap with Buddhists. I have literally stood in the gap. Are you guys? And then we'll get you guys out of here so Christine and I can listen to the video, to the audio. I have stood in the gap in this fight for liberty here in Minnesota with a black Muslim homosexual. Not like a black guy, a Muslim guy, and a homosexual guy. One guy, black, Muslim, and homosexual. And that should blow people's minds, that we can find people out there who we could probably have some really strong debates with on a theological and philosophical level. But when they're willing to stand up and say enough is enough, period, we need to link arms with those people. And it's the same as the lesbian, gay, and bisexual alliance that has come out now in protestation against the alphabet mafia. And like, I hear Christians attacking these people, and I'm going, don't attack them. Do not attack them right now. That they're literally begging to be heard. They're begging to be heard because they don't want anything to do with this agenda. They recognize the wickedness of that agenda. And that's the big thing right now that the Republicans are counting on are, and that's what I love about you two in particular. You're not allowing your Christianity to influence calling out the Republican Party, because for years that's what's been going on. Christians have refrained from calling out the corruption within the Republican Party because, gosh darn it, we don't have anybody else to vote for.
Well, I
And
think
it's
Christianity tells you to call out the
you,
corruption.
right? You say that, and they would recognize that, but you'd be surprised
Your Bible verse.
the numbers that don't.
You got right today.
So
Well, yeah, like last night, I was like reading the Bible, and this came to my, I mean, as I said, it wasn't something that I felt comfortable in doing, but yeah, I was reading the Bible, and it says in Ephesians 5:11-14, it says, "And have no fellowship with the unfruitful work of darkness, but rather expose them. For it is even shameful to speak of those things which are done by them in secret." The Bible said it's shameful even to speak about those things that are done by them in secret. "But all things that are exposed are made manifest by the light. For whatever makes manifest is light. Therefore, he says, Awake, you sleep. Awake, you who sleep. Arise from the dead, and Christ will give you light." So the Bible says to expose. God says to expose darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And we are in this world, it's like full of darkness that needs to be exposed. And then we pray, God, what? That was something I was praying about. I tell people I was praying about, God, expose the evil in Ottertail County. I was praying about it. So when it came to my hands, God said, it's in your hands now. I prayed about it, but I never prayed for I to be the person to expose it. I wanted to hand it over to someone, but God said, it's in your hands. So expose it.
well,
So
we are going to get ready to expose it just a little bit more here while you guys get ready to go try and enjoy your evening, what's left of it. And Christine and I are going to listen in to more of Carol.
okay, well, thank you guys. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Christine, are you ready for this?
I hope so.
I'm a little jelly. They've got 28. And if you guys haven't subscribed to Ottertail County Veritas, please head over there and subscribe to them. I mean, we can't get them monetized yet. I mean, they've got to have 4,000 hours of views and whatnot. But they've already got 1.4 thousand views on this video in one day. And this is how powerful this is. Folks, this is not a joke. Okay, I want you guys to understand. This is the real deal. These people in Ottertail County, these people in Minnesota GOP politics and leadership, they are taking you for a ride. They're taking you for a ride. And many of you are willingly going along because all you're worried about is winning. And as we've already said numerous times in this tonight so far, and Christine, if I'm wrong, you can tell me, but there's more to winning than winning a seat. Sometimes winning means standing on principle. So, shall we?
I think so.
All right.
So
Let's see if I can figure out how to actually make my stuff work here.
Election process after the primary. You challenge after the primary. First of all, there's no history of winning as a write-in candidate unless you've got some new surprising endorsement.
Well, do you know that this process, since the beginning after caucus night, has been, I don't want to seem like me, but
Christine, if you need me to pause, or you want to comment, just say something because I'm watching from the actual YouTube screen, so I won't be able to see you.
okay.
it has been like illegal and lack of transparency. And we have been trying to
I know.
have. Yeah.
I know.
So
I actually know. I think just as much as you do about that, and I agree with you. This is where we.
So Jordan Rasmussen, his endorsed candidacy, the delegates that were elected, it's not legal. So why do you think we should support someone that has been endorsed through a shady or illegal process, or he has been accused of corruption? We have been asking the Minnesota GOP and the BPOU for an audit. They want unity, but they want compliance, and they want us to submit to the lack of transparency. We can only have unity if there's transparency, there's truth. You cannot be united to someone or to an entity where there's lies and corruption.
We've tried to get Ottertail leadership to cooperate with this. It's really, it's as far as I'm concerned, I lay it at the feet of the Ottertail leadership.
Okay.
In the party.
So
we've tried. There's really no way of.
Okay.
My first problem with that is, from my understanding, Ottertail County leadership is Jordan Rasmussen and friends.
Yeah, he's in the leadership there.
Yes, and his wife is, and as far as I know, several of his family members and close friends are as well. So Republican or Ottertail County leadership is Jordan Rasmussen and friends. So they tried to get Jordan Rasmussen and friends to illuminate and expose their own corruption.
Well, I co-host Veteran Nation. I think I've told you that. I co-host another show that shows up on a couple of different networks, and my co-host there, Mike Skipper Arthur. We joke often whenever we comment about any form of the state, the military or like law enforcement or whatever. They investigate themselves, right? And every time there's a complaint, we have investigated ourselves, and we have determined after a thorough investigation that we have done nothing wrong. So what do you think is going to happen when we call on Ottertail County to take a deep look at itself from the leadership level, when all of the leadership is literally in the pocket of Jordan Rasmussen? There is video, and I have it somewhere. There is video showing Jordan standing over or sitting at the table or something like that at the table as the ballot counting is going on, and he's a candidate in the ballot counting.
Yeah, if you want the full story on that, go to saveminnesota.org. They have it there. They have the picture there of him sitting there supposedly putting the ballot tabulation for the caucus into a spreadsheet with his wife, who I believe she's the secretary of the BPOU, standing right behind him. So I don't know. I guess only Jordan knows how to fill out a spreadsheet on Excel.
Well, you wouldn't want me doing it, I'll tell you. All right.
Of sanctioning or. Well, okay, and there is, but the thing is most of the people, I would say Jordan's got a lot of support within the party. Not me, but enough. And in this tight election cycle, where one vote in the Senate makes so big a difference.
Well, why?
And this, Christine, I don't know how you feel about this, but when I listen to this, I'm like, this is exactly the problem with the Republicans. That we have to elect the electable. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. And even one vote in the Senate. Okay, well, right now the Senate has, I believe, a 3-point majority in the Republicans. Now, obviously, this is pre-election. I believe every single Senate seat in the Minnesota Senate is up or up for election because of redistricting. So, but I don't really believe that the Minnesota GOP thinks that their numbers are at risk given the temperature of voters towards the DFL.
Yeah, there's just, well, I have a few thoughts on that. I don't know that the red wave that everybody keeps talking about is really going to be this massive crimson tide that everybody thinks it's going to be, but
well, perhaps not, but I don't think they're going to be losing any spots except for maybe one in District 12.
I'm not. Don't set me up. It's too easy. So
they'll still be getting a conservative in District 12. It just won't be.
They're going to get a liberty-minded, truth-telling conservative who's actually got credentials and not a fake address. But anyway,
nobody's willing to take a chance.
Well, why? Look, Biden, he's the president, and he's there. Why? Because he was elected illegally. I mean, we know what transpired. Unless you're not aware of what happened. Do you think that?
I'm on the election integrity team.
I'm on the election integrity team, but I don't care about election integrity in Ottertail County.
Yeah, remember that he says that I'm on the election integrity team because that's going to be an important thing to remember that he said.
Just not in Ottertail County. We don't care about election integrity in Ottertail County.
Oh, he doesn't care about it.
Do you think that? Do we think he's a legal president just because he's there? It's the same with Jordan. He has been elected through this illegal process. So why do you think that honest people will want to support someone that in our local level has been dishonest? Do you think he'll be honest when he's in St. Paul or if he goes to Washington? Why is just, we need endorsed candidates? Don't values and principles matter anymore? It's just the party or he's endorsed. It doesn't matter.
Well, Carol, I mean, it does, and you're putting something on me that's not right. Yeah, because I agree with this, and I agree with all this crummy stuff that you. The thing is you suppose, and yeah, I know all indications don't support Jordan as being a very honest and upright person, but really, when it kind of comes down to it, it has to be proven. And if
why don't we do it? It will be.
And that's the part where we fell short. This should have happened last spring, but we were thinking that anyway.
Why? What were you guys thinking?
No thing that's happening right now.
So why? What were you guys thinking? That we would forget about it, or maybe we'll be swept under the rug?
B as in B, S as in S. They were hoping everybody would just forget. That's all they wanted. They wanted it to go away.
Yep. It has to be proven. Well, they have the mechanism to do that, and that's all of that the people in the Ottertail County Republican BPOU have been asking for since February.
Yeah, this has been, folks, if you don't know, I have been covering this for quite some time. For quite some time, I have been covering this. I've had numerous conversations with people from Ottertail County. I have been having phone calls and email exchanges, and I was getting messenger messages on Facebook before I got nuked from orbit as well. But I've had massive conversations with people about this topic, all about Ottertail County, just about Ottertail County. And there are other counties. If you're not sure, go ahead and have some conversations with Nate Wiesenberg. If you want to hear about, I don't know, I think Morrison County, maybe. That might be another one for us to take a look at. If we could find somebody who's willing to record surreptitiously. And by the way, if any of you are questioning Carol on this one, well, she's recording this conversation. Did she get permission? She didn't need it.
Single consent state.
Minnesota is a single party consent state. And what she did is true journalism, which is what's lacking in the state of Minnesota, by the way.
No. I knew. No, I was pushing for this from the beginning, but I just didn't get it. Nobody else would go with me.
Maybe you didn't push enough, because every time you see us...
I kick myself for not making a bigger deal about this. This is what I found.
So why did you sign this public letter then? I mean, you shouldn't have signed it then. I mean, it's amazing that like when you see us, you always like so nice and oh, I'm with I'm with you guys, but then afterwards, I mean, no one stands up to say anything. So why don't we have like a why don't you demand an audit then? The 4 other counties, why did you even sign that letter? Why don't you demand an audit?
Yeah, you can probably blame me. I didn't rally enough support for an audit. We pushed for it, but they said no. They're not going to do it. They're not going to risk it. They don't want to. From their point of view, you got to put it from the party's point of view. They protect their endorsed candidates. To go through an audit would cause a big media circus.
And I'm going to call BS on this too, by the way.
Yeah, they protect their endorsed candidates unless it's like, oh, I don't know, Mark Bishovsky.
Yeah. Another one of those people who is in that camp of a genuine conservative.
Or Eric Mortensen.
Yeah. They protect the endorsed candidates who toe the party line. And this is why I keep coming back to this. When are you people going to wake up? When are you going to wake up? When are you going to stop looking at a ballot to see who has an R next to their name and say, gosh darn it, I'm against the leftist. I'm against this social Marxism. I'm against this Gramscian theory that's being forced on us at every single level from every single angle in this state. I got to vote for the Republicans because, gosh darn it, they're the only ones fighting this. They're not. They're not fighting this. People, they're not fighting. You have got to pull your heads out of your collective Minnesota derrieres, and you have to start looking around and saying, are there candidates? Are there Bull Johnsons? Are there Ashley Klingbeils? Are there other people, TJ Hawthorne, who are not Republican by name or by endorsement, who are actually doing a better job of representing me? If you think the only way you're going to make a difference in this state or any place else really in this country is by voting for the person with the R by their name, you have lost your freaking mind. That's it. You've lost your mind. And this is coming from a guy who was in the Republican Party, who was in his local county leadership. And I'm telling you, the Republican Party does not represent you anymore. They don't give a living expletive about you. They don't care about you. They want your votes, but they don't care what you want.
Well, and I think this has been going on for quite some time. It's just that, regardless of how you feel about him, Trump energized the everyday man to be more involved in their politics. And people's eyes have been opened because, I mean, if you look at the comment section right now of this very stream and you talk to people who are from Ottertail County, people are from Morrison County, people are from my county, there were so many people that were involved for the first time. The turnout was so high at caucus night. I'm sure that there is articles and press releases from the GOP establishment everywhere saying, oh, we had great turnouts because everyday people are getting involved, which is great. And now we're seeing what has been going on behind closed doors probably for a very long time.
Yeah, the Minnesota GOP hates the everyday people. They hate them. They absolutely despise them.
They want their vote. They love their vote.
Right. Just like the Democrats don't actually care about the minorities. They want their votes. They get their votes, especially in places like North Minneapolis. They get their votes, and then they leave them. They leave them exactly where they were, and then tell them they don't have any choice but to vote for them because they're the only ones that are going to make a difference.
Right. Just like the same thing that the GOP does in outstate Minnesota. Outstate Minnesota has been voting red for decades.
Yep.
Where's it gotten us?
Right. Precisely. What has it done for us? So let me ask this question of all of you people who want to keep want abortion clinics licensed so that they're safe for the mother and the children. Remember, that was Jordan Rasmussen, by the way. Where has voting for these conservative pro-life candidates gotten you on the pro-life message? Just out of curiosity. Like, if that's what you're voting on, what has it done for you? Has Minnesota changed its abortion laws?
Forget
Governor
changing
Tim.
abortion laws. In 2015, whenever the Center for Medical Progress put out those videos of the Planned Parenthood and the Advanced Bio Research Centers and the baby body parts market, there was evidence from those videos and on Center for Medical Progress's website showing a clear connection between tissue research and the tissue that the University of Minnesota, who is funded by the taxpayers and is currently asking for a whole bunch more money, they were purchasing tissue from ABR, which was paying Planned Parenthood in illegal practices for the tissue. We had an opportunity to investigate that. We had an opportunity to put a stop to it. As far as I know, it's still happening.
Right. So let me ask you, and I know not everybody who's watching is a through and through Republican. There are people out there who are libertarians. There are people out there who would consider themselves conservative and maybe aren't as hardline on abortion. But everybody keeps coming back to this freaking abortion issue. Got to vote Republican on the abortion. Got to vote Republican for abortion. You got to vote. What has it done for you? Your gubernatorial candidate stood on the debate stage and said, we can't do anything about it because it's constitutional in the state of Minnesota. And to his credit, and we'll address this in another video for sure, but to his credit, Wall said, no, all he has to do is appoint the right justices.
Or get the party rallied behind a ballot question.
Right. Your gubernatorial candidate, Republicans, backtracked and said, oh, abortion's not on this ballot.
Well, that's another strategy move from them. That's because they're trying to get the moderate left votes.
They're trying to get the moderate pro-abortion people to vote for them, saying, look, they're going to protect it, but they care about the economy.
Right.
They care about the economy. They care about crime. So yeah, we better play some more because if your kids don't come storming in, your cat's going to open the door and let them in.
Right.
And it would smear the whole thing, and nobody wanted to take that risk. It was a big unknown, and at that point, there just wasn't enough support for it. I mean, and that's the sad truth of the whole thing. The right way doesn't win in a timely manner every time. And I hate to be the one to have to kind of, that's what I'm dealing with, the same thing myself. I don't want to.
Why don't they release
But even at least I don't want to lose the Senate and have Walker in there, someone that supports everything we know.
Forget an audit. Just release the original delegate list.
Forget
This way, with the strength of Nason's campaign, Jordan knows that he has to walk a tightrope. I mean, he's got to vote perfectly, or we're going to be all over him.
Forget about the audit and release the original delegate list.
That's going to happen.
When?
It's going to happen.
When?
It's
After?
Not gonna it's going to happen, but it ain't going to happen before the election.
Well, we know why, because everyone is corrupt. The whole system is corrupt.
I love Carol. I just love her. She's so awesome.
I know. She doesn't pull any punches.
She just doesn't stop. She's like, she looks like a little chihuahua, but boy, she will rip your ankles apart.
Yeah, she's strong personality.
Yeah, I love it.
The whole system is corrupt. And I mean, when you say this, do you think I even believe what you're telling me, that you tried and tried and tried? I don't believe it, because we don't see anyone standing up for this audit. We don't see anyone standing up for transparency.
Well, you weren't. Okay, fine. Well, there's nothing much I can do if you came with that thought and you're not going to consider it.
No, because it's
bigger than what you're looking at. What I basically told Nathan is what it's going to come down to. This is the first time we have a chance to take and hold the House and the Senate and the governorship.
Why don't we
That's something
choose?
that's never happened in Minnesota.
Why don't we
70s
choose a
before
person of convictions?
All he wants is to be able to say, we did it. That's it.
Yeah.
We did it. We did this. We did something they haven't done since the 70s. Well, we've done a lot of things they haven't done since the 70s quite recently, really. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, increasing gas prices. Like, is that what?
Yeah.
What the heck?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. They've sabotaged their own goal because the people that are seeing this, that they're seeing the truth and they're not okay with it. You can't run on a platform of election integrity and then say, well, no, it's about the bigger picture. Forget that we know that he cheated. We know that he added delegates and alternates to the list after caucus night. The bigger picture is that he's going to win, and then we will claim majority in all three branches of our state level government. And so that's more important.
And they will go
election
back to the
integrity.
party loyalist and they will put their hands out and say, see, you have to keep giving us money by through donations to the party so we can keep these three. That's it. It's going to be about maintaining those. It's not going to be about making any differences. It'll be about maintaining. And what the Minnesota GOP leadership does, they abandon their conservative base and their liberty-minded base so that they can reach across the aisle and play nice with the left.
And there's a lot of things that if they reach across the aisle during the next legislative session would be detrimental for the everyday conservative in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
Red flag laws.
Yep.
It's for starters.
And they have already proven they're willing to entertain those thoughts because they want to be seen as reasonable, however we define that.
And integrity. It's not too late. It's not too late. It's still in time. It is no, because you guys are spreading fear mongering, telling people that will divide the vote. If you vote right, if you vote for Nathan, we can win this. Forget about Jordan. Jordan is corrupt. Jordan is corrupt. He does not represent the people. He is corrupt, and he knows that. We have people that he called.
He still won the primary. And you know
he
what?
won the primary because he was endorsed in a shady way, Bill. He won it because the delegates were added illegally. That's why he was endorsed.
You guys need to be sharing this out if you're not. Just the look on my face alone through most of this is worth it.
I wasn't effective enough. I should have tried harder in hindsight. I saw a very successful campaign, and I saw you guys and how hard and dedicated you guys were to him. I thought you guys were going to win. And that would have looked a lot better than us pointing fingers at each other and Republicans tearing Republicans apart. And really, that's what it comes. That's why I did what I did. I believed that you guys would win, regardless of the endorsement.
Go ahead.
So I thought that it would look better if we just let you win than to have transparency whenever we're supposed to be the party of election integrity. It doesn't compute. And I mean, maybe Bill Nichols truly did believe that Nathan was going to win, because I sure did. And I mean, he came so close. But there again, like I said earlier, Bill Nichols is an experienced leader in the Minnesota GOP and his BPOU. He knows that our primaries are open. Who does the Democrat want to run against? The Democrats didn't have a primary as far as I know. I could be wrong about that in Ottertail County, but as far as I know, there was only one DFL candidate. So all the Democrats had no consequence to going and voting in the Republican primary for the candidate that would be easier to beat.
And you can rest assured the DFL stirred up the people in Ottertail County, especially in Fergus Falls, the metro area.
The giant metro of Fergus.
The giant metro.
If you have a Home Depot, you're a metro, okay?
Is that how that works? So
why would you compromise with your own, how can I say, with your own principles? I mean, when we see that, the Bible says we know them by their fruits. If I see that you're signing something like that, no matter what you tell me, Bill, I see what you did. Your words and actions, they're supposed to be the same. They're the same. So you're telling me something, doing something else. makes you look like a liar. I'm sorry to tell you that, but your action does not match your words.
Well, it's awfully judgmental of you for not knowing.
No,
No!
you signed.
Oh, that's so judgmental of you. Like, no, it's not judgmental. Like, literally, that is the gaslighting that's taking place in this phone call is not taking place from Carol. The Bill is gaslighting the crap out of her. See, you're the judgmental one here, Carol. You're the one that's judgmental. You can't know. Like, no, we do know. We do know. Based on your actions, we know. We know.
How dare you make conclusions based on my actions? For shame.
I mean, we literally have crimes that are based on intent. And like if you conspire to kidnap or rob a bank or take someone's life, you may never actually act on it. But if you just have the conspiracy to do it, we're all okay with you being taken off the street for the conspiracy aspect of that. But when it comes to politics, you can't judge me on my actions.
No.
That's not okay. Like literally, people.
You know enough to make that judgment.
No, you signed the letter. No, but you signed it. No, you signed it,
Watch
and
where you're going here.
no, you signed it, and you're telling me,
And I want people to realize what he just said was, watch where you're going here. That was a not so veiled. That's tantamount to, you better be real careful what kind of ice you're treading on here. I mean, do you hear it the same way?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. How dare you make such an accusation?
Be very careful. Watch where you're going.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
that's
to juxtapose the whole how dare you judge me by my actions, he just said 2 minutes ago, well, we're going to be watching Jordan very closely and what he does. But you can't judge people by their actions. So it's not going to matter what Jordan does because we don't judge people by their actions, according to Bill Nichols.
If you guys want to listen to this devoid of our commentary, it'll be fun, but it won't be as fun. I mean, this is far more fun listening to us rant, because we both have axes to grind, quite frankly. But I have been paying attention to this for months. I had people from Ottertail reach out to me and say, no one will tell our story. Same thing with Morrison County. No one will touch this. Nate Miller got some traction with Minnesota Public Radio, I think it was today or recently. But why? Because they're, the leftists at NPR are getting a kick out of watching the supposed conservatives rip each other, not supposed in Nate's case, but watching the Republicans eat themselves alive. And that's exactly what the Republican Party leadership is going to lean on, is look what Nate Miller caused.
Yeah.
That's what they're going to do. They're going to throw that out there. And they've already tried that. Like, that's what Bill did. He's like, well, we can't be running around attacking each other. Why can't we have a free exchange of ideas?
Well, and Nathan shared with me what Bill said to him about that. And it was a lot more nefarious than, well, we just can't have people seeing us rip each other apart. It was, if you do this, you will ruin any chances of doing anything with the Republican Party in the future.
Yeah, like, toe the line.
Mm-hmm.
Toe the line, son, and you'll get what you want eventually. But right now, this is what we've dictated.
Yep.
And we've seen this time and time and time again. They attacked Stephen Lowell for a comment that had absolutely no nefarious intent in it at all. The Minnesota GOP attacked the only person who was willing to run for the Senate office that Stephen Lowell is running, or Senate seat that Stephen Lowell is trying to fill. They attacked him over an innocuous statement. They turned on Mark Bishofsky. They literally took an 82% or 82% endorsed candidate and turned on Mark Bishofsky and ran somebody against him. Karn Housley, who begged Mark to run, endorsed his opponent in the primary.
Well, and for all their talk about wanting to take the Senate and the House, they've left so many races without a Republican candidate.
Right. Because well those districts and those Senate seats are always going to go to the Democrats. They don't put any effort into anything.
No.
None at all.
Oh, keep going back to the signature on that. Read the letter. It doesn't attack you guys. I fought very hard for them not to attack you guys. I did do that.
Nathan
So
is
magnanimous,
I kept it
Bob.
from Republicans
Bill.
fighting Republicans.
Sorry.
I did do my job.
Nathan
I fought
is
very
not
hard
a
to make sure that they
third-party
didn't
candidate.
attack
He's in
you guys.
Republic-
I'm sorry, I have to point this out. 2 minutes ago, he's saying we can't have the media showing how we're ripping each other apart. And then I fought very hard to make sure that they didn't attack you guys. Now, I'm assuming the they in this conversation that Billy keeps referring to is the establishment GOP, someone higher up than him. But yeah, I fought very hard to make sure that we didn't rip you apart like we didn't want you to do to us.
Right.
Party.
He's a third-party candidate.
He's not.
He didn't get the endorsement.
He is running for the
I
Republican
know
Party.
what his principles are. I know he's.
So what party is he?
As far
No,
as
what
the
party is he
election
running
process-
for?
Carol,
Can you tell me the third party he's running for? What name is it? What's the name? What? Can you tell
you
me?
like playing board games? Do you obey the rules in the board games?
I do. You guys don't obey the rules.
I don't even know what he was trying to say there, but it sure sounded to me like he was saying, like, you bend the rules in board games, so don't tell me about us having to keep the what? I don't even what his. This is a man on the ropes, ladies and gentlemen. This is a person in a prize fight who's been beaten down by the challenger unexpectedly, and they're just up against the ropes, and the referee got knocked out or something. I don't know what happened. The referee was like flirting with the ring girl. I guess that's what's going on here, because Bill is getting knocked around this ring. He's punch drunk right now, and he doesn't even know what he's saying. He's outmatched. Absolutely outmatched. And I'll offer this to Bill. Bill, you want to Bill, is it Bill Nichols?
Yep.
Bill Nichols, if you want to come on and have a conversation with Christine and I about this video tonight, the platform is absolutely open to you. We will gladly have you on. I'm not saying that with a smile on my face like we're going to attack you. I will let you come on and say your piece. I'll push back on you. But I know what's going to happen because this has happened over and over and over and over again. Christine can vouch for this. I offered to allow Tori Westrom to come on and debunk and refute and rebuke the accusations that were made by Ashley and Christine. Offered. Nothing. Silence. Crickets. Because they're cowards. Mm-hmm. They're all cowards. If he knew he was being recorded in this conversation, he would not have had this conversation. They are cowards.
Apparently, you're the ones that are not obeying the rules.
I'm not in the. I didn't run the Ottertail caucus. I had nothing
Well,
to do with
stand up. Stand up for what is right. You're part of the CD7.
I will, and I am.
Why do you guys always speak in the future? I will do something.
There's only so much you can do, and there is a bigger thing at stake here, believe it or not. And that's something that I don't think I guess I don't expect you guys, because I know you guys are very heavily invested in this. But please step back and get the bigger picture. We have the chance to win.
No, we don't. Look, Jordan is corrupt. Jordan is not going to represent us.
It doesn't do any good to win when you have to compromise your values. None.
No.
It's not a win. It is absolutely not a win. And that's what Bill is telling her. Hold your nose and vote for Jordan so that we can win. And then we'll fix it going
That's when real change can happen. That's what he said. Those were the exact words that came out of his mouth. That's when real change can happen. What real change?
Once again, I'm just going to say, let's look at things like abortion in Minnesota. Has real change happened with voting for Republicans? Has real change happened?
It doesn't even have to get that difficult.
What about taxes?
Yeah. Or how about something as simple as firing Jan Malcolm, the commissioner of MDH, whenever she had us locked down because she was giving Tim Walz his talking points of why we needed to stay locked down. The Senate had the majority and they had the power to get rid of her. And that would have brought the whole house of cards down. That wouldn't have been difficult at all.
Precisely. Real change, though.
Yep, real
He's
change.
not a person of principles. Why do you think?
We disagree on that. We're going to have to disagree on that.
Well, how can you, with him cheating, you're telling me he's a person of principles,
You
cheating?
don't think that Jordan doesn't know how strong the real conservative Christian families are in Ottertail now after this campaign? You know how hard they are working at this, and you know they're very good at campaigning. Not only that, they're raising tons of money, and he has to vote conservative. He has to vote perfectly, or he's toast, and he knows that.
He's not toast, because once he's in there, I mean, the corruption just gets worse. When you're in St. Paul, the corruption just gets worse and worse and worse. So, I mean,
if he's found out, and when we dig into things, and that will happen, that's not going to go away, his base is going to erode, and the truth will out. His wife was involved. His best friend was involved. He can't escape it. So when that happens, that's when that begins.
so when
right there, that was one of those Freudian slips I was talking about. His wife was involved. His best friend was involved. Involved in what, Bill?
Yeah.
It sounds like he's already come to his conclusion. So how does he know that? Did they do an investigation and then they found out, oh yeah, those little measly members in the Ottertail County BPOU, they're right.
Crazy, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it
I don't know. I'm not in charge of everything, but it's going to happen.
I'm saying once he's in there, it will be hard to take him out. Once you're in there, he's senator or whatever. I mean, the corruption just gets worse and worse and worse.
I don't know the future, but I do know we live in real changing liquid times right now, and I think that is a real possibility, because
I think Bill might be politically gender fluid.
Well, I think he's confused about what power the Republican Party is actually going to have to take Jordan out if he gets in.
Oh, none.
Yeah.
You think Jeremy Miller is interested in getting rid of a guy who is going to like lick the fecal matter off of his shoes?
Oh God, no, of course not.
I mean, I'm sad to say that Jeremy Miller is our only option down here. And I mean, and he's the Senate Majority Leader. So, I mean, you really think that Jordan Rasmussen is going to get challenged by leadership in this Senate? Are you kidding me? And Jeremy Miller can't even challenge his neighbor. You know, he's like to a game of, what were we got? Board games. Yeah, that's what Bill wanted people to play earlier, was board games. So yeah, Rasmussen is going to fit in perfectly with Jordan, or with people like Jeremy Miller and others.
Mm-hmm.
People want truth in government. I want truth in government is what the big quest is. But right at this moment, it's winning, and then after that, we're going to get after.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
We want truth in government, just not in our local party.
We want truth in government, and in order to get it, we're going to put cheaters and liars in.
Oh my gosh. I mean, every time I listen to this, I'm just like, oh.
We don't put a corrupt politician in and tell them, okay, we'll take you out and see what you do. No, you avoid them from going in to entering the government.
You're a big Trump supporter.
I'm a person of principles and integrity. And when I see Jordan,
you vote for Trump?
I did vote for Trump. Well, I did vote for Trump.
But I'm going to use him as an example, whether you like him or not. Okay. Have you noticed
You
that
can
Trump
use that
is
to your credit,
endorsing
not
people that don't even fit what he likes, like Oz, that Dr. Oz guy. And there's a couple other people that he's endorsing. It's just like you kind of shake your head and go, what? But it's because Well, it's because they're electable. Oz has
And
got a
Fishbach,
name,
too, he endorsed
and he's
it.
running as a Republican, and he's got a good chance at beating the guy he's running against is a total demon.
But honestly,
Oz isn't a perfect person, and he's got some kooky beliefs and some things that I don't agree with at all, but I'd still vote for the guy because the guy that he's running against is a flat out, if you
look, I like.
more, I mean,
What I don't get is what is he insinuating here? Is he insinuating that Nathan Miller is less electable than Jordan Rasmussen? He got like 300 less votes.
Well, it's because of the Metro.
Well, yeah, I mean, he got like 300 less votes than Jordan Rasmussen. As far as I know, that's like the closest margin in the history of margins. And it was over 10,000 votes total just in that particular primary. So it's like he's insinuating that Jordan Rasmussen is somehow more electable than Nathan Miller.
Well, you're a big Trump supporter. That wasn't, that was very much it was kind of a got you. He thought he had him over a cliff on this one. Because if she says yes, then he can say, well, but see, then you're just as radical and vote for whoever can win. Yeah. Or why don't you support all these other endorsed candidates? Because these are the people that Trump endorses.
Right.
And then he goes on and lays out why these people aren't good to be endorsed, but we have to vote for them because they're not quite as evil as the left. And this is why I keep coming back to the conversation about what a conservative is. What the conservative movement has become, and especially in places like Minnesota, is it's conserving 20 years ago is what it's conserving. So the further to the left that the Overton window shifts and the more time that passes, we're going to see conservatives supporting things that the left are supporting and pushing now.
Oh, yeah. Eric Mortensen made an interesting and very valid comment. He said most Republicans in Minnesota would be considered Democrats in other states.
Or, even in Minnesota 15 years ago.
Right.
I like Trump, but that doesn't mean that everything Trump tells me to do, I'll do. I mean, I have discernment. He supported the vaccines at some point, and I never supported that. I mean, just because he said something.
Either, but I'm just trying. I do think he's a good campaigner, and I think he's a brilliant strategist. I was just explaining what is thinking. I thought it was a good example for this because Carol, I understand, and believe it or not, I do respect you. I wish we got along on this because I think you and your husband are wonderful people. And I would always like to be friendly and welcome in your company. But we're going to have to disagree on the process of this. I agree with you, but for right now, winning is more important than having a perfect election. And you can quote me on that and tell everybody, well, Bill's a...
But Bill is the party of election integrity. He's on team election integrity.
If this is not eye-opening for every single person who has got an R behind their name right now, I don't know what else to tell you. I literally don't know what else to say. You have got to pull your heads once again onto your collective Minnesota derrieres and realize this is leadership. And you have got to find a way. This is it, folks. If you can't turn this party around in this election, you're never going to turn it around. I don't see any. Christine, you see any other options? I mean, with this kind of thought process? And this is a low-level guy. What do you think this looks like the further up the food chain you go?
Right. I mean, I don't know. I bounce back and forth between there just needs to be no parties and it's just candidates, which is a lot of what the principle of Ashley Klingbeil's campaign runs off of, is that you just need to have candidates and not parties. Or, I think that there's probably a chance, but that people need to open their eyes to this. They need to open their eyes and they need to reject it. And vote for the candidate that has conviction. Reject this party or nothing, red or dead, blue no matter who mentality, and vote for the person. There's an old saying that if everybody threw away their vote on a third party candidate or independent candidate, that that candidate would win. Well, in this case, Nathan's not a third party candidate. He's a write-in candidate. But I think if Nathan doesn't win, which he's got a uphill battle to fight. I mean, Bill wasn't wrong when he said that write-in candidates don't win.
Right.
So Nathan's got an uphill battle. He's got a chance, especially with this kind of stuff coming out. But I think that people need to take control of the party. The everyday people need to go in there. We need to get smart. We need to get politically smart, and we need to beat them at their own game.
And quite frankly,
than they do.
And quite frankly, we need to be disruptive. I've been saying this to people about things like school boards and city council meetings. If they're not going to listen to you, you have to get disruptive. And if your local BPOU isn't going to listen to you, and I don't care if you're a Democrat or because there are Democrats that are pissed off as all get out at the direction their party's going. They don't recognize it anymore. If you're trying to save your party, if you really are that invested, then you have got to get disruptive. You have to say this meeting's not going forward, and you have to have people with you. You have to be willing to do it.
You have to be educated in the processes of the Republican Constitution, how motions are set out. I mean, you just have to educate yourself. There are classes all over the place.
Yep.
That you can take. Some of them cost money. Some of them are free.
But you've got to be willing to do it. And this is Carol and Merle being disruptive. Mm-hmm. These people will get kicked out of the party. They're going to get kicked out of the party after this.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, they pretty much already are.
Right. But I mean, just look at what they did to Edwin Hahn.
Yeah.
Another example.
So he believes in winning over truth, fine. But the big thing is when we win all three, the good that's going to come out of that far outweighs everything else.
Look, voting Democrats and rhinos, they are never a win for us. Conservatives are always a win. Not rhinos, not Democrats. And Jordan, he and many people in the Republican Party, the platform is a very good platform. The people who are running the Republican Party are the issue. And that's what we're seeing here in Ottertail County. We're seeing in Minnesota GOP, and we're seeing all over the country. The Republicans, the establishment, together with the Democrats, they were the ones that certified the 2020 election. So that's our issue. Rhinos, establishment people, and Democrats. They will never be a win. They will never be a win for we the people. They will always compromise our principles and our values. And that's why we are here in this mess now.
I don't disagree, and you're absolutely right, and we totally are in a mess, but it's swimming in a swamp, you know what I mean?
And the corruption starts.
But you do got to stay alive and achieve goals.
And the corruption starts locally, and this was our first year being involved in politics, and we were seeing how corrupt it is. And it just gets worse when it gets to St. Paul and Washington, D.C. So, yeah, I just wanted to tell you, I was like disappointed when I saw your name there. And you always seem like so nice and friendly with Nathan, this and support. But then afterwards.
I do, and I am, and I do. But I hope at some point you can understand why I did that. But
no, I don't.
I was never. I'll just say. This is the part that kills me the most. I was never disingenuous. I'm not good with math. I'm on your side. My politics. I share with you. I share your politics and your views.
No, you don't.
I'm sharing Christian that wants the best.
He clearly does not. I agree with you, Christine. He does not share their politics, because if he shared their politics, if he shared their socio-cultural, political, philosophical positions, he would have demanded that Jordan Rasmussen step down and that Nate Miller be put in that place.
Yeah.
He
Or
doesn't share.
he would have at least gotten the party to release the delegate and alternate lists from
Right.
caucus night. That's all they've been asking for since February.
And they have been stonewalled every single step of the way. Every single step of the way. Stonewalled.
Honest, just justice in our government. I want the exact same thing. It's just politics is a hamburger machine. It's a big mess, and it'll rip your heart out, and it does.
And
Bill has no heart. He just admitted it.
He wants Carol and Merle to feel bad for him because he's caught up in this crazy mess that is the party, and he has no spine.
Yep. His poor Bill. So I'm sorry, Bill. Bill? I will pay for 4 sessions on BetterHelp. I will take money out of my Subscribe Star, Bill, and pay for you to get some counseling on BetterHelp. We'll get you started, Bill. If you reach out to me, I'll help you find a BetterHelp counselor to help you with the trauma of being in party leadership and how it has just beat you down. I mean, I've made this offer to other people in different situations, and no one ever takes me up on it. But Bill, this is genuine. Come on my show, and then we'll get you some help. We'll get you some better help or something. You sound defeated, and that just can't be healthy. Am I being snarky?
Just
he could walk away from this, Bill. If this is so damn hard, you could walk away from it at any time. But you like the power. You like hobnobbing. Like, to some degree, anybody who puts themselves in this position is kind of part of that. That you have got to, nobody believes me. Christine and I have talked about this. I'm an introvert. I really am. I am actually an introvert, and going to events and doing this stuff, it's hard for me. But there's also a little bit of I enjoy it. Christine enjoys it. Okay, I don't know. We'll find out. This may be the first and only episode of the series, but you have to some degree enjoy this. But then politics is a meat grinder, and it'll just rip your heart out. What? Like somehow, please feel so sorry for me. We're almost done. We'll finish now.
I'm sorry. I'll probably get chewed up and spit out in this next election cycle.
Gosh.
But believe me, I pray about this constantly, and I believe I'm doing the right thing for everybody.
I just don't think maybe what
complex.
What?
If that isn't a Messiah complex, I prayed about this, and I believe I'm doing the right thing for everybody. Well, I don't think that God would tell you to lie. In fact, I'm pretty sure that our friend Carol just read from the Bible talking about exposing
the evil works of darkness. Yeah.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean,
so I don't know who Bill's.
They can't. And I say this to people all the time. They are in stark disagreement on this particular issue about this being the right thing. So we're limited to options, right? And I know this is going to throw all of my postmodern viewers off because I can't stand it when they look. Well, my truth is different than your truth. My truth. No. Here's the deal. If you disagree, the options are this: one of you is right and the other is wrong. Either you're both wrong, but you can't both be right. And in this situation, that's what we're left with. Either Bill's wrong or Carol's wrong. They're both using spiritual language here. One of them is wrong, but they can't both be right. Or they're both wrong. That's it. That's all it comes down to. Okay, now we're going to finish.
What's right for you is not right for everyone. I mean, I just can't see how you can compromise your principles and thinking it's okay for everyone.
Ouch.
I just don't get it.
It's not that easy.
I just don't get it, honestly. I don't.
I understand. It's not been easy.
Okay, well, I just wanted to tell you how disappointed I was when I saw you.
I love how she keeps coming back to that.
Yeah, and just wanted to know why you did that.
And, Bill, in case you didn't know, one more time, I'm really disappointed in you. Okay, I just want
Well, and I think that what frustrates me about that whole thing, because I have such an affinity for Carol, is that you can just hear the frustration. She's just like, okay, well, obviously you're just okay with this corruption, and
she's sad.
yeah,
Carol is sad. I can hear it in her voice. She's not getting a kick out of this.
yeah,
Like,
no,
she's had him on the ropes, but she's not enjoying it. She's literally trying to give him like he's got 2 weeks. You could spare the party all of this and say Jordan Rasmussen should be removed. He could do it. He could do it.
They didn't even ask for that.
Right.
Again, they just asked on the call for the delegate and alternate list from the caucus in February to be released. They said, forget the audit, just release the list.
Precisely. But I mean, if he's really, a man of principles, really a man of his convictions, he could volunteer and say, you know what, Carol, you're 100% right. You're 100. Like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm calling a meeting of the party heads of the counties, and I'm going to demand that Rasmussen be asked to step down. He could do that, but it's not that easy. I am not a crook. Oh, I'm sorry.
But I mean, thank you for telling me, but it didn't. I mean, it didn't.
There is no feel good answer. There is no happy ending in the situation. There isn't. I mean, at least not one that I can see. And I'm sorry about that.
No feel good answer for you, Bill. There is a feel good answer here. It's do the right thing.
Yes. There's no feel good answer because choking on crow is very uncomfortable. It's just what it is. It's uncomfortable to choke on crow. And he can't do it. He cannot do it because all they're interested in is winning, because they think the W is bigger than principle.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel like I've let some people down, and yet at the same time, I put my whole heart and soul into doing the right thing. And I'm sorry that you're upset. I hope you can think this through and understand at some point. But I do respect you. So take care.
And listen to that veiled. I hope you could think this through and understand. I do respect you. That's a statement of, if you think this through and understand, you will agree with me.
Yeah.
The implication is that Carol and Merle and anybody else who might be in this with them haven't thought this through. You haven't thought about this. You're not using your brain. Because the only reasonable conclusion is that we're right and you're wrong. And if you were being reasonable and you were putting the effort and the time into this, you would agree with us. This is the tactic of gaslighting, folks. You're watching. This is a master gaslighting. Now, it's falling on deaf ears because Carol's not going to be swayed. But the attempt is to get her to doubt by saying, and just think about this. I hope you think this through. That's a slap in the face. That's actually an insult.
Yeah.
It's an insult. You're too stupid to understand, and you haven't put any effort into it. Let's hear if the last 5 seconds has anything juicy.
Here, Carol.
You too.
For the call.
Okay. Bye. Okay. Bye, Bill. Bye-bye.
Nope, nothing juicy. There. Oh, we made it through.
We did. Well, I would like to say, if you want more information on what's going on with this whole situation, if you need more evidence than what's been made available through this phone call that Carol had with Bill Nichols, there are several people putting out truths on, a platform that TC no longer has access to. Melissa Morgan.
Wow, thanks. That was just. Oh.
I know. I didn't mean it to come out that way, but
so mean.
Norgren is doing a great job breaking. I mean, she's really spending some significant time breaking it down. So, I mean, if you need it at the granular level to see the corruption that's going on here, I encourage you to go follow her. Find Carol Hexam. She puts out the videos. Find her on Facebook. But
I have a series of videos talking to people from Morrison County and Ottertail County. Videos from Morrison County where Nathan Wiesenberg's wife was assaulted by Mandy Heffernan's dad. I mean, literally assaulted.
Mhm.
Nobody did anything about it. I mean, there's so much. Like, if you have questions, you feel free to message Christine on the platform that I no longer have.
Yeah. Well, and so if you live in Senate District 9, if you live in Traverse County, Wilkin County, Grant County, Ottertail County, part of Douglas, the western part of Douglas County, you need to look at Nathan Miller, the writing candidate.
Absolutely.
He's
we are going to shoot Nathan's chances of winning by coming out and saying we are endorsing Nathan Miller for Senate District 9. So
I sure am.
Sorry, Nate. Nate's gonna be like, "Oh no!" No, but I 100% serious. And if you're in Senate District 12,
Ashley Klingbeil, who is a pro-life candidate, by the way.
What? Gee, why is that
so angry?
I know.
So she had a PBS interview that she did. Normally they do forums and like debate style things, but this year they decided to just do pre-recorded interviews, and then they play all the candidates from the same district on the same night. Well, Tori Westrom's interview was played before Ashley's, and he says, "I'm the only pro-life candidate in Senate District 12," which is just a patently false statement.
And he's not even pro-life.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's as pro-life as Jordan Rasmussen. He
got
100% rating from the MCCL, who did not send a survey out to Ashley, but included her name on their printout that they mailed out to everybody as non-responsive when they never gave her a chance to respond. She would have had the same 100% rating that Tori Westrom got. And
by the way, MCCL is nothing more than a lobbyist group that does not want abortion made illegal.
No, because
in Minnesota. Because then they lose their cushy jobs and they lose all of that money that, and there is probably going to be, so one of the things, and Christine doesn't know that I'm going to do this, but one of the things that we're going to be doing going forward periodically, depending on how often we have material that we would like to talk about on this new series, provided that she comes back for the next one. We are going to be having a Navigating the Northwoods bonfire once in a while. And what that bonfire is going to be is Christine, being the negative Nancy that she is, sometimes just likes to take the opposite side of an argument just for the fun of it. So we will be debating certain topics, and we've already practiced this via the conversation about abortion, which she then later on went and told me everything she was saying she got wrong. But but we will be there are going to be times where we might find ourselves not necessarily diametrically opposed, but coming from different angles on some of this. And so we might be having little in-house debates live in front of everyone to enjoy. And it should be interesting. But we would encourage you guys to watch this, share this one out, like it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel just exclusively for my content, then subscribe to my channel just to catch Christine and I as we come back for more and more episodes. Going forward, we each have some topics we'd like to talk about. I still want to do the debate because I think there's a lot there to I'd like to do it before the election. But there's also, we're going to take a look at party platforms after the election, because that's when it really matters. The platforms leading into the election, and Christine, if you disagree, they matter, but really what matters is, in my perspective, is if this is your platform, what does it mean, and what are you doing to stand on it? And so I'd like to break down the DFL platform, the GOP platform, and for our libertarian friends, we're going to look at the libertarian platform. If we can find it, I don't know who's in charge of the libertarian platform in Minnesota right now. It might be Charlie, but I think they just pass it around kind of like a peace pipe. You know, like my libertarian friends are going to kill me, but well, no, they won't because they're all non-aggressionist. Um, but I think it's like who's got the platform this week for the Libertarian Party of Minnesota? I think we gave it to Andy. I like the last I saw, he was handing it off to the neighbor kid. The neighbor kid was taking it over to the other guy's house, and that guy had a DFL sign in his yard. So we're gonna probably end up with some weird leftist crap in here. And then the old lady across the street has always voted Republican. We gave it to her. So we're just gonna, I'm kidding. The Libertarian Party in Minnesota has actually got a solid base underneath it, and they're doing good things. So, but we're gonna break down platforms, and going forward, when the new when the new candidates take office, and we already have people on the inside who are willing to start passing us legislation for us to look at and talk about as it's being thought about, as it's being proposed. One of our goals, I think, with this is to encourage candidates and then those who are elected and take office is to really do away with omnibus bills.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think most of the candidates that we're familiar with and are supportive of are in full agreement with that.
Yep. I mean, there's absolutely no reason why the legislation that comes down the pike in Minnesota needs to be so top heavy. There's so much garbage in it. So what do you see going forward for us here as our viewers dwindle because we're not as exciting anymore?
Yeah, well, I think that just keeping people up to date with what's going on and helping it make it easier for them to keep an eye on their legislators would be the goal and intent.
And we would, I think I could speak for both of us, we would really actually enjoy if you have like local city council or county commission stuff that's being proposed for local regulations or local codes or things that are being proposed in your community that that your city council and your county commission or whatever are looking at doing, and you would like to have those talked about, if you'd like to have those broke down or even compared to other legislation that's going on, send it to us. We'd love to take a look at it. We're not just looking at stuff at the state. We'd love to look at the county state level and the city state level, and I don't know if I have it in my heart to look at the federal stuff.
Yeah, I agree. It's maybe, but you got to work local, right? That's the whole mantra.
Yep.
Start at the local and
I think people will be surprised. It's daunting when you think about it, but it's actually, once you start looking at whether it's the city or the county level or at the state level, once you actually start looking at the language and you kind of cut out the extraneous verbiage that is so predominant, therefore, and thou, and whereas, and if once you cut all that other stuff out and you actually just kind of boil it down to its base, most legislation is actually really easy to understand, but they word it the way they do so that somebody who just might catch wind of something but hasn't really spent a lot of time parsing the language of legislation is going to read it and go, I have no idea. What? And you could see that play out when they put something up for a referendum vote, like at school districts, where they literally have the entire verbiage on there, and then they have to tell you voting no means you're actually supporting the legislation, or you're like, what? What? Why can't they? Should we raise your taxes is what that should read. That's what, right. If we could just get that, should we raise your taxes? But the way they word it, they have to tell you exactly voting no means you're going to support this, but if you vote yes, then you're voting against it. Huh? A right. Yes vote means why do I feel like I'm going to have an aneurysm? And that's how I feel every time I walk into the ballot box there, the voting booth. So, any closing thoughts for the night after our inaugural episode?
Well, thanks everybody for putting up with us for 2 hours. Really appreciate it. And yeah, spread the good word that there's some stuff going down in Ottertail County.
Absolutely. And keep an eye on Senate District 12 as well, because things may not be done over there by a long shot. Ashley, it sounds like Ashley might have a pretty good headwind on her side.
I hope so. I think she's got a really good chance.
Well, can't say that the candidates that she's running against are, all they're cracked up to be. So,
yeah.
One of them is proven liar, even if the courts don't agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you swinging in, and if you haven't yet, merchandise. We're gonna have to get something specifically for navigating the Northwoods. We're gonna have to now.
Yeah, I'll have to come up with some ideas.
And I'm sure my merch people would be happy to put that together for us. But if the only reason you watch is because you want to watch this series, I'm fine with that as long as you share the crap out of it and subscribe so that you can see it when it comes up. Because we may not always have a big heads up when it's coming on. So check out the merch. Follow Christine on Facebook. Follow her on Twitter. You can find me on Twitter as well, @Robe Regiment. I'm also, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now on Getter as well. I have migrated to Getter. I have 1 follower.
You got one more than me, man.
Well, you're not on Getter, so.
No, I'm not.
All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Remember, fight for your freedom. It belongs to you. Fight for your liberties. They are yours. And as always, how do I end all of my shows? Do you even know?
Is it Six Semper Tyrannis?
There you go.
We are going for liftoff in T-30.
Stand by for further instructions, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment.
Secondary guidance systems engaged.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, it will be on my mark.
All systems are a go. All systems are a go.
Minnesota Black Robe Regiment, you are over the target. You are authorized to fire at